Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here, and today I have a playthrough for Endless Winter Paleoamericans. This one is all the hotness. People are playing it and talking about it here late in 2022. It is a game in which you are playing as cavemen or Neanderthals or some sort of living being in the times before civilization. It is a Euro-style game, though, in which there is a little bit of everything. You have your worker placement aspects. You have some deck building, some resource management, some area control. There's bidding, at least in the multiplayer. All sorts of stuff. Set collections right over here. I'm not even showing the whole board because we have a little bit of a puzzle here that you're constructing. There's a scoring track. I'm not even showing the solo one, which is all the way over at the other side of the table. So much to explore mechanically here at Endless Winter, and I'm glad to do so with you here on the One Stop Co-op Shop. Before I get to all that, let's talk about some promo. One Stop Co-op Shop is a YouTube channel that serves all your solo co-op needs. We have our YouTube channel and our YouTube stream channel. Go ahead and like those videos, subscribe to the channels. We have our podcast, which is focused on interviews and game analysis. Peter, Mike, Steve, myself are in your feed every single week with new, fresh episodes. Almost 400 episodes as I record this. Very, very exciting for us. We also have our Discord, which is our excitement when it comes to the community. We love talking to people who share our passion for solo and cooperative games, new ones, old ones, ongoing series. We got threads and threads for all your old favorites with people that are playing stuff for years and years. Or if you want to dive into the hotness, like Endless Winter, we have that for you as well. We have our Patreon, which you can subscribe to and get exclusive access to videos and different channels within the Discord. But the Discord is free to join. Go ahead and check the show notes below to get the biggest, most available experience here at the One Stop Co-op Shop for you. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop, your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. So let's do an overview. This is a surprisingly simple game. I know that is a ridiculous thing to say with all these interlocking pieces and all these mechanisms, but think of it as distilled versions of deck building and worker placement. So once you get a feel for how those kind of simpler versions of those mechanisms play in this game, I think you'll be okay. Okay, so let's run through an overview. So this is where it all happens, the personal board. So you're going to have a deck of 10 cards. You're going to draw 5. Look at that. It's simple. Anyone who's played a deck builder is going to be very familiar with that. So that's the rest of my deck. These are animals. Animals are useful for sets, but I can also kill them if I need resources. So the primary resources in the game are meat and axe, and I'll be able to do basically anything off of that. So then some of the other elements on the board over here, we have our worker placement aspect, and we have this very cute meeple for the yellow, the little wolf guy. That is amazing. And then we have 2 tribesmen. This represents my workers that are going to take actions for me on the board. So you do have the 3 workers, but one of them is different. That is your clan leader, these sweet minis that I believe it come in every game. You don't need to have the deluxe version for at least the mini part. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, they coordinate with your clan leader, which you're going to get dealt randomly, or maybe there's a system to kind of draft them or pick them or something. Either way, they're very simple. They coordinate with the action spaces that I'm going to show you in just a second. So when you go there, you get a little bonus, either an axe or 2 meat. They're all the same. Just the different spaces are going to be the difference there. As the game goes on, I'm going to be able to place these tents, and eventually they will grow up into these villages. Kind of think Catan style. I'll show that in a minute. As I uncover these, I'm going to be able to get little bonuses. Excuse me while I throw my pieces around. And this, I actually have the resin version of the game. If you get the retail version, it'll come with cardboard versions of these. This is the megalith. This is what I'll be using to kind of create like the pattern matching section. I'll show you all that as I take a tour of the actions here in this game. On a typical action in a turn, and you get 3 actions, as many actions as workers. You're going to go through a couple of familiar steps. So first of all, you're going to check your hand to see if you have any cards that have this symbol. That is culture. You can play that card for free and get the benefit. So you can play it once and then move on to the rest of your turn. Or if you have multiples of these, you can play multiples, but you have to discard a card for a subsequent culture card that you play. So that's nice to kind of get yourself going with the start of a turn. Once you do that, then you place your worker. And I'll explain how that works in just a second. But know that they interact with your cards. So in this second part of your turn where you're placing the worker, you can supplement the worker placement. So that's not just one worker. There's all sorts of workers. So you can supplement by adding labor. So then how it works is each of these actions are going to be able to be done depending on how much labor you have. Well, how much labor do you want to devote? You have all sorts of options for devoting extra labor. So if you really want that big turn and you have lots of labor to spare for it, play a bunch of cards, get a whole bunch of stuff going. Or just place your worker, get a simple action, and move on. You have that flexibility. So let's focus on these 2 spaces here. These are the 2 spaces that are relevant for deck building, 2 of 4 spaces. Okay, so here you would put your worker there, and this means the infinity symbol. So anything in this band means that you could do it as much as you want or as much as you can pay for. So in this space, you would be able to pay 1 axe and 1 labor for a tribes person. The tribes people are here. This is a row of 5 decks of cards. These cards are all the same and they all do the same things, usually buffing your actions, your available labor pool when you go to a new space. So as your strat develops and you know that you're going to be capturing a lot of animals, you're going to want that dude, the hunter, that can multiply your labor when you go out hunting. Moving along down here, this band of actions in general is a one-time use because they don't have the infinity symbol and they'll generally play into your scoring. So here you'll be able to spend 1 meat to, these symbols are a little bit much, but that says acquire a tribal card, discard it. Yes, that torn up card is not legacy, you just discard it. And then you can bury a card, either the card you just acquired or another card. So burial is going to play in your point scoring. Here's the score track way over here. I'm going to acquire these symbols along the way, these eagle or bird type things, which will raise me on one of these 2 tracks. This particular track is relevant to the burial action. Further up I am, the more I'm able to score in terms of the buried cards. Now, useful to note that you can, you're only going to be able to bury 7 and get the points. You can bury as many as you want, but you won't get points for it. Game wants you to do different things. But the further I am up, the better I score on this. So then this character over here, the solo bot, would score this one right now. If they leapt ahead of me, they would score this improved area. So you want to get here first because if you both reach the top, then the first one that reaches would be able to get that first place goodness. That's one source of points, burying cards. Another source of points comes from here, which is the culture aspect. So here you would spend 3 of your labor to acquire a culture card. Once again, you would acquire the card into your hand unless it specifically says acquire it into your discard pile. So you would have all sorts of options. This is era 1. So then you could, make more tents and get more axes. As soon as you know the resource system of the game, all these cards are going to be very, very obvious to you. At the halfway point of the game, I'm going to be moving this cover, and then I'm going to be revealing more powerful Era 2 cards. So that's how the game demonstrates progression. Another engine of point scoring is moving down the track over here. You could spend a variable amount of meat and axe to buy a tile. So the scoring tiles are going to be variable. They change from game to game. The first half, you're going to have a certain tile which scores a little bit fewer. And then the second half, it opens up and you get your more arcing up 10-point end game scoring tiles. The cost is going to depend on how many tiles that you have. So in this particular case, be 1 axe and 1 meat, and then you would get that benefit. And then you put that there and score that at the end of every round, which I'll demonstrate in just a second. But for now, future tiles as I acquire them are going to cost 2 meat, 3 meat, etc. More points, more way to generate points. We love it. So this space over here is the exploration. So then you would place your worker here, and as many as you could pay for, you can either place one of your tents or in terms of labor, move one of your tents on the hex board. Everyone is going to begin the game with 1 tent. So as I place tents, I'm going to place them in the center, and then I will move them depending on where I want to go with that action. More points, more points. Here we go. We're going to go to this spot. We're going to spend 3 meat in order to take advantage of a triangulation of tents. So that's why you want to move them. You don't want them to stay in the middle. You want them to go out. And once you get a triangle shape, then you can make a village. So if I were able to get my tents to look something like that, then I would take all 3 tents, I would return them to my board, and I would place a village. You see, I don't know if you could see the circles right there. It tells you, it goes right there. And at the end or during the eclipse phase, which is the kind of end of round scoring phase, you would get these benefits. I'm playing with this module over here that gives you improved glaciers. In the basic game, these would be empty, but I don't think these add too much. Basically, you would flip it, and it give you a one-time benefit for placing a village there. I think that adds a little wrinkle, so I'm going to play with it. But that is how villages and tents work. The last space here is the animal space. So you would go here, pay labor in order to draw 2 cards, and also a labor and an axe in order to acquire a card. So plenty of options for animals that you can acquire here, and they coordinate with sets, and they tell you exactly how many is in each set in the card over here, so that you know that there are 5, whatever those are, in the wilderness, 10 of the saber-toothed cat, etc. So then you're going to be building those sets. So then as you pay, you can acquire the cards, and the more that you have, obviously, set collection is pretty simple. The action over here is that you can tap it. The game calls it tapping, but you're clearly slaughtering them for their goods. So then as you tap them, you would no longer get the benefit of the set because they're dead. But you would be able to load up on resources there. Nice way to kind of have a push-pull, kill the sets that are lagging behind, preserve the ones that you have. So that is the animal collection portion right there. You're probably saying, Jason, I see this thing that is at the end of all these tracks. You're not explaining them. Okay. So if you are the first worker at any of these tracks, then not only can you get the benefit of these 2 areas, you get that little third thing, which is a bonus action for the player who got there first. So then here you'd be able to bury a card, progress yourself on a track a little bit. You get some extra resources, place and move an extra tent, and acquire an extra wilderness card. So in the first turn of the game, or anybody who goes first in a turn, you have access to all this stuff. We're going to go here. As workers continue to proceed along, they're going to be like, oh, I don't want that because the bonus is gone. I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here. And eventually you'll be stuck wondering what to do. That's not too bad. So further workers, if I wanted to go here, go there. There's still plenty of goodness here in the regular actions. You want more stuff? This game has more stuff. So along the way, you're going to be able to gain this action, which is the Stonehenge megalith type area. So you're going to be able to build a little primitive structure over here. So you start empty. You can start to fill in here with your neutral tokens to fill in the center spots. Eventually, you're going to be able to play your own tokens to get one-time benefits. So as the game goes on, eventually you're going to want to build on top of the initial structures, and building on top gets you some points. I'll show you how the points work as the game goes on, but for the most part, you're going to want to get tiles to that second level so you could score a little bit more. So you're telling me you don't have enough to do on your turn, enough to think about, you don't have enough actions? I'm telling you, you got one more right on your player area. You can choose if you want to rest. So say you're not interested in any of the other actions, or you locked out of something that you really want. You can go here, get yourself set up, draw a card, kill an animal, and the eclipse phase will get you a little bit of an extra bonus. I'll get to that in at the end of the round, but just know that you have that option as a failsafe. Another module that I'm putting over here are rest tiles. So whatever is showing, you get that, or you're able to kind of put that at the bottom and get the next one. But a little bit of an extra benefit to resting with that module. I like it. It slides right in. On your third action, if you did not use any of your cards, you can devote them to what the game calls the eclipse phase, which is the end of round consolidation, point scoring, all that good stuff. So let's say I have these 3 cards in reserve. I can play any or all of them into kind of a bidding pile. So then at the beginning of the eclipse phase, after everybody has gone, everybody knows how many cards are in that pile, you reveal, and that is your bid in terms of the turn order. So the higher labor that you have devoted, and that also includes the eclipse bonus right there, you'll be able to place yourself at the top of this area. So then once that's all resolved, then you score depending on what you're triggering in terms of your eclipse powers. So then you would look at the turn order and you would get the benefit. So if you wanted this one, that'll be a megalith, place one of the tiles, or you can also get any one of the below things if you really want to. It would also trigger any eclipse actions that will happen on your bid cards right there. So in this particular case, that'll be place a tent and get a meat. If you have tents or villages that are touching a square, you would get that benefit. There's a simple area majority system. So if you have one or another player here, you'd both get the benefit. So if you have more presence as a faction, then you would get that benefit. Really simple to manage all that. But you would get whatever that says. And also, if you had these tiles, say you had a tile right there, you would score it, see that eclipse. Anything with an eclipse, just do it, follow the iconography. Once you get into it, the iconography becomes pretty self-evident, I think. The years will go on. They have that eclipse phase, then you hit round 2. There are 4 rounds in the game. And so once you hit that second round, you would do it all again. Once you pass this middle point that unlocks the scoring tiles, the first half of the game, you can only take from here. In the second half, you could take from either side. Also, as this says, you would discard those Era 1 cards and get the more powerful Era 2 culture cards. Once you hit that last section, points, you add them all up. I'm not going to describe all of the scoring stuff. I went over a couple of them in this overview, but like I said, I'm not going to go through all of them. I hope that gives you a sense for the multiplayer version of Endless Winter. We're almost ready to begin. And now, we're the one-stop co-op shop, so of course we have to engage with the solo mode of these games. So this is the bot area. The edge of the table is right there. So this thing is a massive production. It really does a lot to emulate another player. So, we have a slider where it's like some bots are just high score areas and they give a little bit of light interference. Some of them are evoke the feeling of playing a separate player. This is definitely on the side of you're going to be playing someone else, but in an automated way. So I'll go into all the solo bot stuff when I get into the playthrough, but for now, just know that playing a bot turn is playing a card. You would look at where they would place their worker. Generally, they would go wherever it indicates. If there's some kind of blockage, then they will go somewhere else. But you would play it, and then you would just run down and get their actions. So then in this particular case, it would be draw a card and acquire a card, and also acquire a random card. So you just kind of go down the column. So then bots cheat. They get stronger as they progress. So then the next card would do that. So then if it was able to, it would take go on the migrate space, place 2 of their villages, or kind of muck around with them, and then just go straight down the line and just do all that stuff. There is a reference card, there's a scoring card, there are map cards, all sorts of stuff to kind of describe what exactly happens, pinpoint where the bot goes. But for the most part, it is an action system. They're getting in your way and they score, so you have to score along with them. You are competing directly with this bot in order to win the game. All right, so we are ready to begin. I have my personal area set up. I've gotten my initial deck going, drawn my 5 cards. I have a setup card. I could pull 2 of these and pick one in the solo. I have picked something that goes with hunting. I also was able to draw a chief that goes with hunting, so it looks like this is going to be a pretty hunting happy time of it. I see some tiles that go off of tipped animals, slaughtered animals. Let's not go with the euphemism. Both in Era 1 and in Era 2, so that's what I'm going to be going for the game. Although I should note that in Endless Winter, don't just focus on one area. Eventually, you will max out on the benefit that you derive from any of the areas, the hunting or the migration or burying cards. There's only so many points that you can get, so you want to diversify. It's good to have a focus, but be able to leap off of that if you want to score your best. So here is that solo bot. There's the edge of the table, as I was saying. So I have placed all of their tents out on the field. You'll see that when I move over to the tent board. They start with an animal and a couple of other things. Don't worry about the food and the axe. I believe they start with 0, but they'll get plenty as the game goes on. They start as the first player. I have to take it from them over the course of the game, so let's see what they do. They are going to go to the gather space, and they are going to get 1 megalith and bury 1 card. While the camera's here, let's take care of that burial. So this is a specially constructed deck of 10 cards from the culture deck. So they are just going to bury that right there. They have begun their scoring. The other thing I got was the megalith placement. In terms of where they go, that's what these targeting arrows are for. All right, the bot will strike first on the megalith board. They're going to go to the most left point spot, put it there. This indicates they get another placement, which is going to be their next neutral token. And the tiebreaker, they have to build adjacent. The tiebreaker says it goes towards the top, so they're going to put it here and get 2 food. Just like that. And I won't show this placement every single time just because of the logistics of how I have to move the camera around. But every time they place a worker, they place it right there and move on. That means that I do not have this bonus action available to me. I didn't want it anyway. Silly bot, you left the best space in the board for me open. So we're going to use my Mega Chief to go here. And going there, because of my Chief specialization, I took the axe bonus. So I get 1 axe, which gets me 2, which is awesome. I'm going to go play as Hunter with it. That means that I get a labor, and on this space, I get another labor. This card came with the setup card that I got. So I have 2 labor and 2 axes right there. That lets me get 2 cards, and at this point, I'm going for diversity because of that tile over there. I don't think the bot is going to take the tile. Famous last words. But I'm going to get these. Now, I'm going to move that down, and I get to slaughter one of these, which is going to be this saber-toothed cat, which is going to get me the 2 axes back and 2 meat. All right, everyone, so be prepared for an abattoir to appear in this pile over here. Lots of dead animals. If you're a vegetarian, you don't like that, that is too bad. So this was my board state at the end of all that. So I'm going to get 2 axes back and 2 meat. I cannot gain more meat until I place these. You know what I'm going to try to do next turn. And finally, I have access to a bonus action, which is a random draw off of the top of the deck. Doesn't really matter at this point. Actually, I will take it. These are wild. They complete any other set. Oh, baby. Useful to note, this does not fill up on its own. You have to take the action to get those 2 cards. I'm going to make the bot do that if it wants to. This is the bot's second turn. They're going to go into the culture pile, which is free at the moment, so they're going to initiate all those actions. They're going to grab a scoring tile, or try to. Grab a culture card, and also put 2 cards in the eclipse pile. Let's go 1 by 1 on that one. Now, normally you would consult the card for the targeting arrow, and so it would take this culture tile right there, but it does have to pay the cost over here, but it cannot. It got the 2 meat from the megalith pile. It does not have the axes, so instead, it would, following that targeting arrow, it would get a megalith instead. I know that because of the reference card. Whenever it can't do one of these things, it will do this easier thing to do instead. Scoring tile becomes a megalith. The megalith has to be placed orthogonally adjacent to other tiles, and following the placement rule, it would place right there. Cannot be neutral, has to be orthogonal, and so they would get the axe that it needs to next time get the scoring token. So I won't show the targeting arrow every time. I just want to be crystal clear for illustration purposes. Again, consult this thing. So you go to the right, up, and it would take this right there. Bye-bye. And place it on top of its culture deck, another card to potentially bury. This means that it would enter its bid. So that's a very strong bid. Oh, right here, actually. That's an extremely strong bid. I don't like it. It would bid according to the symbols on top of here. So then it would just go in this pile. It would have a very strong 3 labor bid because it's these 2 and the last card that was played. So I'd have to beat that. Doubt that's happening. The 1 spot left that has a bonus action available happens to be the place that I was going to go. So thank you very much, bot. So we are going to go here first. We're going to spend 2 axes, the 2 axes that I have currently, and build 2 tents. So let's go ahead and spend those 2 axes and build 2 tents right in the middle. I can also spend 2 cards from my hand, firing off their top powers. Notice the eclipse, that's the bottom powers. Hoping to hold on to them, but can't do everything. So I am going to do this power, which is to trade 1 meat. I got plenty of meat for an axe. And I get this hand and this hand and a half. So that's 4 total. So I get to do 4 movements according to that action. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Last thing that I get to do is spend my plentiful meat on a triangulated set of tents and build a village. Let's go ahead and go from 5 to 2 on the meat. Oh, by the way, I didn't explain this in the intro. I can trade meat for labor. That's what this means. So if I really wanted to, if I really needed it, kind of save the cards and use my food for labor, I could have spent that. But I'm okay with that now. Having food is perfectly fine. Oh, by the way, that should have been discarded last turn. Sorry about that. So having spent that meat, I'm going to replace all 3 of these tents and get a nice mighty village right there. So that denies the bot all of this stuff because they would get the influence. That's 1 influence each. Villages are 2. So at the eclipse phase, I get the benefit of all 3 of those. I think that's fantastic. So the last bonus, completely for funsies, we are going to play a tent and move a tent. I'm going to go ahead and play my tent right there. I have my option if I want to move it towards this area that will get me 1 point or 1 tool. It's early in the game. Let's go ahead and bank stuff. So for the boss last and final action, normally it would go wherever the open bonus is, but all the bonuses are closed, so it's just going to go to the area. It is going to do the culture generating action again. And as you can see, it can finally pay for this marker. So we're going to go ahead and go 1, 2. The priority arrow was left, so it would take this marker and place it face down over here. I have paid my resources. It does get the bonus. It does get to bury a card. It's going to go ahead and do that. And it is going to just score it 2 points during the eclipse phase. You don't have to listen to any of the bonuses that are listed. It gets 2 of these culture cards. It is not messing around. Putting that on the top of its deck. And also it puts 2 more cards into the eclipse pile, basically telling me, don't bother, it's going first next turn. All right, so final turn for me for round 1. We're going to now play this culture card, my 1 culture card that I drew. So then I'm going to pay a axe and get a megalith action. Boom. Let me go ahead and start claiming spaces. Once again, I get the other megalith action. I get that axe back that I spent. I don't think I actually showed this worker placement, but there they are, right there. But I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to spend the 1 axe that I got back and my last card of the hand that I had, which is the worst card in the game. Bye-bye. That is going to be the tribesman over there, and I'm going to acquire a card. Going to be pretty important for me to start getting these bonuses from this area right there, the culture area. So I'm going to go ahead and get the crafter. Now, I could, if I want to, because it's in my hand, I could spend it this turn during the eclipse phase to get 2 axes, but I think I'm going to want the labor instead. So I'm going to do this second part now. I'm going to spend 1 meat to acquire a tribe card and put it in my discard pile and bury a separate card. Let's go ahead and get another hunter. I'll get that back eventually. And I'm going to bury this tribesman that I just used. I specifically can bury cards that I just used. Bye-bye, tribesman. That's the culling mechanism. Gets points. I like the call. I like everything about that. So that is the end of the player action round. It is time for the eclipse phase. That wasn't so bad, was it? The bot is beating me 5-0 in this pile. They have 4 in there, 1 on the last card played. So they're going to consolidate. They're going to shuffle that together to get their next round ready, but know that they will maintain turn of supremacy. And so the order of eclipse resolution is turn order, hexes, and player board. Turn order, they get 1 megalith. According to that last nomad card played, the priority was to the left and up, which is there, which gets them a random animal. Aww. Glyptodon? There you go. So I have it beat for influence here. Aside from all the goodies that I get, I also wanted to be here because they were there. So I denied it a couple more things. But they get the benefits of what's on top, which is 1 idle movement and 2 points. The bot is on the board. Bot prioritizes movement here on the right side of the offering track and then the left. 2 points from over here. Nothing has been uncovered over here. And that is the bot's scoring. Now it is my turn, so I get the secondary benefit, which is to draw a card. So that is going to stay static for the next turn, unfortunately. And I know what I'm likely to get. Yep, poor tribesman. He barely does anything. This is the star of my show in terms of the eclipse phase. I get 1 tool, bringing me up to 2, 1 movement on the idle track, and 1 megalith. Here is my movement up the idle track. I'm not going to let the bot get away with that easily. And I'm not a dumb bot. I get to place wherever I want. I'm going to get the very powerful draw 2 cards. And I get to draw another card from having built a village. So that is 1, 2, 3. 3 tribesmen. That's why that's really important to get that done. I know what this last card is. This is my second starter culture card. But in terms of the end of phase consolidation, I get to pick up my discard pile, shuffle it, and then draw 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically drawing out almost my entire hand. So no card limit. That I can have as many cards in my hand as I want. So I am loaded for bear for next turn, baby. Heck yeah. We move the round tracker along. We take back all of these workers. This has been set. We reset the rest token pile. I haven't taken a rest yet. Now I can place a tent and move it. If I were to take the rest action, bot has no access to that. This is why I did not spend labor to refill the market, because there's an automatic refill at the end of the round. We get more culture cards. I'm going to go ahead and deal those in order. It's definitely important for what the bot takes. And that is a full round of Endless Winter solo mode. On to round 2. All right, round 2, time for the bot to do its thing. So they're going to go to the migration space. So they're going to score 1 point for every tent they have on a glacier, and they're going to move their tents around. They have 1 point, so there you go to 5. I'm still at 0. That's no good. And they are going to check to see if they can make a village. They cannot, because they would need these tents in the inner ring to be close by. They are not. So then I would consult the next card and move the tent on the inner ring. And hopefully for the bot, it would be able to make a tent, but it did not achieve that. So that is the bot's turn. All right, so I'm going to start my turn. I got plenty of axes, not much meat, but watch my end of my turn. I'll have more meat than that, tell you that. But first, let's spend one of that meat to invite somebody to my communal feast. So let's go ahead and spend my last one. And I think I'm going to invite another culture person to my discard pile. This is why I like playing against bot. They're dumb. They don't realize that I am the hunter and I am equipped to do hunter things. First of all, the chief lets me grab an axe, and so I am now maxed out at axes at 5. With my giant hand of cards right here, I feel really good. I have 2 hunters that I acquired once to start the game, 1 last turn. That gives me 4 hands of labor. With one of those hands, I'm going to fill the market. Wow, look at all those boars. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Rhinos, I want them all. I'm going to use another tribesman with that. So that gives me 4 total hands of labor available for this next part, and 4 axes, bringing me down to 1. So then I get to take 4 cards from the market. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam! Just completely hunting out the wilderness. Look at that, 4 animals. I've already finished my rhino set, and I am now working on the sloth set. So that is the rhino right there. You see that there's 4 to 10. And don't think I'm going to miss that. I tip a card. Bye-bye, woolly mammoth. So I can still, in play to get the set, I only need 2. There's 5 in the deck, but I think I could do it. But the most important thing is I get to fill my meat to full. There is so much meat on this woolly mammoth. Whoop, there you go. Oh, let me go ahead and spend the axes properly. I have 1 axe left. The last action here is the bonus, which is a random animal off the top of the deck. Meat. I love more meat. All right, let's see what the bot does in response. They're mad. So this arrow indicates if they don't go to a place. So I covered this. They bot wishes they got this last turn. Oh well. So then they go here and then go here. This is the first open space that has the bonus open. So they go get some culture. They're going to get a culture card, a random animal, and culture cards to the right and down. Oh man, more axes. That would have been nice, but oh well. A random animal from the top of the deck. They get a saber-tooth tiger to add to their pile. And they also take this token, which I wasn't going to take anyway. So let's go ahead and add to that set and add that tile. Wait a minute. That's why you have to check the board. So they cannot pay the meat. They don't have that. So they're going to go to their other action over there. When they can't take a tile, they place a megalith. So bot isn't necessarily worried about clustering its own spaces. If it can get in the way of me, it is more than happy to. So it's going to take this happy space because it is the rightmost space down. So they're going to bury a card and gain a place on the idle track. And that, as they say, is that. It is my second go, but I get to play a culture card beforehand. That's going to be one of my starters. I'm going to spend my last axe. Oh man, this better be worth it. You bet your buns it's worth it. These corner pieces are the hardest to get to, but they offer the most benefit. That is 2 progress on the idle track. And I get to bury another tribesman card. The culling continues. So many options. Either one of these would be really excellent for me, but I can't resist the bonus. So let's go over here. So we are going to use this one. I have 0 axes. Now I have 1 axe thanks to this meat, and they give me 1.5 labor. I only have the 1 axe and the 1 labor, so let's go ahead and acquire a Pathfinder. I'm going to spend another meat. Remember, I'm plentiful on that, to put a card in my discard pile. That will be a shaman. They're nice and flexible right there. And I can bury a card. And while I'm here, 1 more progress on the idle track and bury another card, so 2. You can bury cards from anywhere, so I'm going to take these last 2 tribesmen that I have and get them down there. See how many cards I have down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking pretty good. 1 progress on the idle track for crossing that threshold. I get my first 2 points of the game. Woohoo! About gosh darn time. All right, see how the bot responds to all that? Animals. They're going to draw a card, acquire a card from the tableau, acquire 2 random cards, so they'll have 3 total, and put a card into their Eclipse deck. Let's go ahead and just do that right now while I'm here. All right, so they're going to draw a card and put one in the tableau. The stag, their targeting arrow is left, so they're going to get a woolly rhino. So I don't care about that. They can get all the woolly rhino they want. And then they're going to pull 2 more. 2 more saber-tooths. That completes their set of that. Oh, well. I have 1 last action, and that is actually going to be to rest. So going in order, I can draw a card. So that is going to be tribesmen. Always good to draw through those. I can kill an animal. So killing an animal is actually going to be this one. Most of them give me food. I'm really full up on food. But this wild card, which would be nice, but I like the idle track progress to stay ahead of the bot. And there you go. At any point during the rest phase, I can trigger the rest bonus. So that is going to be draw a tent and a place, draw a tent, place it, and then move it. Let's go ahead and get that 1 point bonus during Eclipse and set up for another village right there. The rest tokens do not regenerate. It is the first person that rests a turn that gets it. Next turn, we'll see another one. It is the end of the round, so I get to figure out what is going to be in my Eclipse pile. And because I rested, I already have a hand and a half. So the most that the bot can have is a hand and a half. That would not change turn order. So I am going to play 1 card to the pile. It's going to be the crafter. So I need axes. So I'm going to go get 2 axes and get that turn order bonus. Just to make it official, the bot gets a hand and a half. So good thing I played that extra card. So priority is going to go to them left and down. So when I do their stuff, that's going to happen. But for now, I get to change turn order. I go first, and I get a megalith. This is just a super awesome space. Do not want the bot to get that at all. Bury a card, move 2 on the idle track, get 3 points. I wasn't worried about that at all. I get another point for being there. I get an axe, 2 axes, a megalith movement, and an idle movement. So I get 1 idle movement. I'm already at the top of this track and in the round 2. Great sign, 5 points. And I have my first opportunity to make a stack. So let's go ahead and make this stack right here. And I get a point for every tile that is under here that's from not me. So that's 2 points. And then 4 points for 2 points each for covering my own tiles. 6 and 5 is 11. That's amazing. Taking me from 6 to 17. And so player board stuff, I get 2 axes from having bid this card. That brings me up to 4, 2 from the terrain, 2 from here. I get to draw a card. So that is going to get a nice shuffle and draw a card to add to the 2 that I ended my turn with. And then I get to draw my 5 more. So tons of card draw. I've almost drawn my entire deck yet again. All deck builder fans know that's what you want to do. Draw your whole deck. Oh, by the way, I forgot. When I uncovered this piece, I get another idle movement right away. On my way, baby, to completing both tracks. We are crossing this threshold. We are on Era 2. Now I have access to these goals if I want them. Clean these off. Get a new rest tile, which is animals. I don't think I'm going to be taking advantage of that this turn. But that is the end of round 2. I'm feeling really good. All right, so new round. I have refilled the market over here. I don't think I actually filmed scoring or the eclipse phase for the boss, that second phase. So they did get some idle stuff from their terrain, so they're one before this little point threshold. And they did get 4 points off of other stuff, so that's where they are. So I'm not cheating. Legitimate win so far. All right, I get to go first this time. Let's go ahead and put that down there. Not at the hunter space. Hopefully that stays open. But I want those tents. So then let's spend 3 axes to get 3 tents down. All right, so that is going to be 3 tents in the middle right there. And I am going to spend 5 movement. So I have the Pathfinder, which gives me 2. The Dinky Little Tribesman, which has not been called yet. And then 2 off this Brave. So we are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's reveal this. This is going to be mine or somebody's when a village gets built. Some more animal taking, so that's okay right there. Actually, wait a minute. Let me do that a little bit differently. I am going to take this, the hand back. I'm going to have labor from the food. So I'll show you why I do that in a next round. Now I get to do this one. I get to do the village, and I also get the bonus action, place a tent and then move the tent. But let's do this first. Let's spend 3 food, putting me down to 0 again and uncovering this tent. What am I talking about? Tent, I meant village. So that goes there, and I get the immediate benefit here, and then this gets discarded, which lets me draw 2 cards from my deck. Ooh, Shaman. Ooh, more Megalith. I'll take it. And if you remember, I get that 1 tent and a movement, so then it doesn't have to be the same one. That's going to be here. This tent, I need 2 more moves to get that over here. Bam, my 3rd village. Feeling really good. I'm doing really good. Next time I play this will be on hard mode. That's right, bot. I'm talking crap to you. You better do something good in response. You took this. Then it goes into the direction of the targeting arrow, so it's going to go to the culture space. And it is going to rearrange its tents once again and get an idol. So let's see if the map card allows it to eventually make another tent. So it's going to slowly finish its crawl its way across here. So the next time this action happens, it would have the ability to finish a village, but I'm right there. Yeah! Once again, the bot does not have the food to place that, so it is going to place its megalith and get its icon moving. All right, it's going to get 2 points from that play, and it is to the left and the uppermost, so then it's going to play here. The bot is going to draw a card and also acquire one, so that is the woolly mammoth. It goes here, then you follow the priority, which would be the saber-toothed cat, then you keep on going, and so that is the stag boost that is going to start building that set. All right, second move of the turn. Let's go ahead and start with a culture. We're going to spend our lowly little last axe and place a megalith token. This is just too good an action to pass up. So we're going to go ahead and move ahead 1 on the idle track and bury a card. Let's go ahead and bury this Brave because I like the cards in my hand. All right, big chief man, do your thing. So they have the power to get an axe back when they get placed there. I'm going to spend that axe immediately, and I'm going to spend 1 hunter. So that will get me the ability to draw twice, a pink and a useless green. And that will allow me to acquire somebody. That will be the woolly mammoth, which I'm going to off immediately. Offing that woolly mammoth fills up my food track. And I also get the bonus, which is going to be a random, which is going to be a stag moose. Maybe I'll build that set towards the end of the game. Second turn for the bot. I already know it's going to go over here because that's the only bonus token area that's open. It is going to get a megalith, an eclipse card, and do the rotation thing on the board. All right, so while I'm here, let's go ahead and do that eclipse card. And let's reveal a map tile, which is going to put the inner 2 tents there. Finally, the bot is in the striking distance to make a village, which it will do next turn right here. That feels a little bit underpowered. Comments, let me know if I'm playing that correctly. Be nice, as always. I only listen to the nice comments. Tell me how much you appreciate the playthrough, and then you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. Here's the megalith. It's going to prioritize the leftmost space and the one furthest down, which is going to be here. Draw and acquire a random animal card, which is going to be a rhino. They are working on their rhino set. No! for my last placement of the turn for a worker, that is going to be, well, first of all, let's do the culture card. Let's go ahead and spend a meat and get a tribes person into my discard pile. So got plenty of meat, and let's go ahead and get a crafter in there, because I think that getting the idols that I want is, I'm going to need all the help that I can get. All right, for my last worker placement of the turn, I'm going to go ahead and get 2 culture cards. So this is going to be fairly expensive. That is 2 crafters and 2 other symbols. So that is 6, and I'm going to acquire 2 of these bad boys. Do not lack for food, but I do lack for axes, so let's go ahead and do that. And getting a megalith and killing an animal, always a good deal. It doesn't have the discard symbol on it, so those will both go into my hand. So this worker over here lets me turn a food into an axe. So that's a pretty good deal there. And I am going to spend a food and an axe and acquire my first idol. Look at that. So that is my idol. You were wondering why I wasn't afraid to kill woolly mammoths and rare animals? Well, I had my eye on this for a little while. So far, I have 3 of them down. That's going to get me 6 points. And that placing that there allows me to bury a card, which is going to be, I think that's my last tribesman. I think there's 6 under here, so sure. Last tribesman buried. Let's see what the bot does. They have their run of the board. They're going to do the animal stuff. Lots of animal points. They're going to draw and take an animal. They're going to get a random animal or 2 random animals and do 2 eclipse things. So they are just intent on being the first player next turn. You can have it. When they take an animal card, they seek out the one that they need. So this will complete their set of 4. So that's 10 points for them. And they get 2 more off the top deck. They're going to progress some sets right there. They're not doing anything on the terrain board, but they're certainly collecting animals. I am talking so much junk about the bot, but this is not looking pretty for the good guys. So I'm not even going to bother. I can't even match what they have in their eclipse pile. So they are going to go ahead and trigger their eclipse first and place a megalith tile. So I've done a fairly good job denying the bot opportunities to get their stuff that they want. But because they're picking, now that we have coverage in some of the outer areas, they're getting some of these great tiles. So they are going to draw a card and then pick one that they want. Let's go ahead and pick that. And then they are going to prioritize one that they don't have. And that's going to be that. If the bot beats me on animals, I'm going to be really upset. On the terrain, I've done this, I've locked down, but they do get 3 points right there. And also 2 points from their 1 idol that they've collected. Now I get to go. I draw the 1 card that I have in my deck left so far. And this is where I get to feel pretty mighty. So we are going to do 1, 2 axes. Very necessary. We're going to do 1 progress in the idle track. Nothing there. We are going to do, that's the axe, 2 progress in the idle track, 1 megalith, and 2 food. So here's my 2 progress in the idle track. I get to bury a card. I'll take care of that in a little bit. So looking at this board, so this is a really powerful spot, being able to draw 2 cards into my hand, but that would really open up things for the bot. Don't like that at all. So I'm going to continue to play a little bit of defense here and also get a good card as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put this shaman card or tribe card, whatever that is, in my discard. It is at least a point. It is going to be another hunter. All right, so I did call a card, which happened to be a brave. So now I get to look at the rest of my board. Bam! 6 points right there. And I get to draw 2 cards because of this one. So let's go ahead and give that a good shuffle. So that is going to be 7 cards in my hand, which again, I only have 1 card left. I've pretty much drawn through my deck. This is my arsenal for the last round. And I have 6 points of progress right there. Let's move this thing over to 4. We're going to clear out all these workers. We're going to get a new rest token. I don't anticipate resting, though. But let's see if it's any good. A culture card. That one, the 1/10 thing was good. So I don't think I'm going to be resting this turn anyway. All right, so last round, the bot has action advantage. They are going to go to the gather people space. And oh no, another one? While I'm over here, let's bury this card. They go to the rightmost space, which at this point is here. They're going to get a tribes person. According to the handy dandy reference over here, whenever they get a tribes person, they get a tool instead. But That's an unfortunate outcome for you. All right, I was looking forward to this. First of all, let's go ahead and do that, which is to spend a axe and place a megalith, which I will. And then I'm going to discard Communal Feast so that I can play another culture card, which is going to be spend a meat, of which I have plenty, and get the megalith and a kill an animal. The animal I'm going to kill is this rhino that's just been hanging out. It's going to fill up my meat. That wasn't exactly optimal, but I did want to get that out of the way because I did not want the bot messing me up. I placed that there. I get one axe, and I finish my second structure for 2, 4, 6, 8 points. Heck yeah. 23 to 31. I'm feeling good. And all right, I get to go into the band over here. I don't know if I explained the offering track. So if you have your idol here, then you can trade resources at the end of the game at the rate of 4-to-1. So 4 resources get you 1 victory point. The higher you go, the better that trade is. Till you get to the top 1-to-1, that's where I want to be. I'm going to put my hunter down, the special one, down in the hunter space. So then I'm going to get an axe for that. And I'm also going to get an axe for tribeswoman. So that leaves me 4 axes. And I'm also going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands of labor. I'm going to spend it all. I want stuff. So first of all, I draw the 2 cards. Woo-hoo-hoo! I could finish my saber-toothed cat run right now, or at least make a huge dent in it. I get to take 4 of these animals. So then it would be 1, 2, 3 if I wanted it, or I could deny the bot sets. So, wow, what a decision. I don't have the brain power to calculate which is better, going for my stuff or letting the bot have its 4 points if it got this thing in particular. That's what I would want to deny it. Ooh, that is a tough decision, but I'm just going to go for be selfish, get my own set. I might be able to get 1 more of my own on the way. And then I'm going to take this animal and which gets me 2 more progress up this track. I love that. And that lets me acquire a shaman card and discard it. Which at this point is just points. All right, so second turn, it is going to go to the migration station. It's going to get 1 point for its tents on glaciers, and it's going to get its first village. I can't believe it. So late in the game, and it's going to bury a card. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Oh, I'm quite glad that I can at least demonstrate this. Takes that, puts that right there, and it actually moves these outer ones that you were wondering how the outer ones moved. There you go. Kind of moves them over to the other side so that it probably won't do it again, but you never know. Actually, I don't think it'll do it again, but that's how that works. And also 2 points for glaciers. Oh, you're catching up to me, little bot. That leaves the idle getting space open for me, which is perfect. But first, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go and draw a card and also get a valuable 2 axes with this mortar and pestle. Let's go ahead and use the crafter and the shaman right there and get a culture card. Everything here is worth 1 except for this one, which is worth 2. I will take it. And I get to spend 2 meat and a axe for this one. That's the cost right there. I have taken the cull card one because I have 7 in my card exactly. So that will get me the 10 points. I also have the 10 points over here too. Actually, let's go ahead and spend that. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2. And I get to put a shaman in my discard pile. At this point, it really doesn't matter. It's just points. I also get the bonus, which is 1 meat and 1 axe. Bot has the run of the board. Let's see what they do for their last turn. They're going to hit some animals. That's all they needed. It's terrible for me because they're going to get, so they're going to pull, draw a card, take a card, get a random, and put 3 cards into the eclipse pile. That eclipse pile actually doesn't mean anything, but at least they're doing that. So I already know, you saw this hanging out there. They finished their set of 10. The random they got off of the deck is a woolly mammoth. Actually, I lied. That turn order thing kind of sort of mattered. It would have gotten the bot its last megalith placement, or will get it its last mega placement. I am not going to challenge it. So first of all, let's go ahead and get this card that I got right away. I'm going to spend it. I got the axe, and I'm going to draw and take a animal, and I'm also going to progress on the idle track. Let's go ahead and spend that. Come on, saber-toothed tiger! That's not a saber-toothed tiger, but at least that gets me closer to another set. It also gets me one closer on the idle track. Sorry about that. That card shouldn't have been there. This is a new turn. I am going to discard this crafter and play this communal feast. I know you saw me discard it before. I retconned that a little bit. I discarded my shaman instead. So let's go ahead and pay a meat and get a card on my discard. Doesn't matter. The last placement of the game is going to be this space. I have 2 labor. The 2 labor allows me to move this out here. And for 3 meat, you know I have that meat. I go down from 4 to 1. And let's take these off the board and put on my village. Fantastic. So then when I get the village, that also tempted me. I can get this bonus, draw a card, and take 1 card. Come on, Daddy needs a saber-toothed tiger! Womp, 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 womp. At least I have one of these. Alright, so final scoring time. I completely seeded the turn order thing to the bot, so I'm allowing it to place its last megalith. Megalith is going to place it in the leftmost space, which is that one, which is actually a fabulous space for the bot. Because when it's supposed to draw, it actually buries. So 2 more cards in that score pile for it. So this is going to be important to note. It no longer can get this, and drawing a card is now useless because it's the last round of the game, or at the end of the game. So we are going to convert anytime we get either of these 2 rewards to progress on the idle track. So you're going to see a lot of that. So for the bot's sake, it got really lucky, at least in terms of the terrain. So it goes 2, 4 has the influence there, 5 has the influence there. I had already moved it up to 22. And it gets 2 idle movements. The idle movement happened to carry it across the 3-point threshold right there. So it gets 2 points for this, 1 progress of idle over there. And the tool, well, look at the tool, why not? But I had been playing this incorrectly throughout the game. I fixed it on the scoring track for now, and I'll probably have a note there. So this is not a one-time benefit. This just happens at the eclipse. I just didn't notice this little faded line there. So it would get 2 progress on the idle, so 3 total. So I had moved this up a couple of things to counter. So it is now the correct one. And then it'll go up here too, and then it gets 5 points for that. All right, so let's make a bunch of idle progress. So we have the card that I would get over here. So that is an idle. I have another idle over there, and that's a 3rd idle right there. So 3, I get 2 food and 2 axes off of the board over here. And so that is another idle progress. So we're going to do 3 idle progress total from here, and there is 4. So I was actually worried about this a little bit, but then I remembered all this idle progress comes at the end. 1, 2, any further progress is points. So 1 per, so 2 points for me. I'm loving that. 20 points. Fabulous. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points on the idle track, and 1 right there. So that is 5 points, 25 points off of the eclipse. And so if you were paying attention to the game whatsoever, you knew that I was pretty much thwomping the bot. I enjoy thwomping, so I don't mind. 120 to 84. So I think that the bot got a lot of the terrain tiles going, but didn't get anything out of them. So that was just wasted actions right there. I did a couple of smart things in terms of there was some specific Nova turns that I had set up that really put me ahead. So I really enjoyed this playthrough. If you noticed that I had made significant rules errors, obviously you are free to put your comments in. However, I would ask that be kind. Let us know how much you appreciate what we're doing. We're doing this for free. We're doing this with our hobby time, and we're in your algorithms multiple times per week. So there's bound to be some little errors here and there. So just let us know. We're happy to address things and let people know about how to play the game correctly. But be kind always in everything, especially in rules corrections. So this is Endless Winter. I really enjoy this game. It's a Euro game through and through. It is mechanism upon mechanism. I like the way that it integrates it, though. My personal opinion, which will be stated in a podcast at some point, is that because it's weaving together lots of different mechanisms, deck building, worker placement, area control, things that you might be familiar with from other places, and just kind of weaving them together, the little individual parts actually give a lot of access. Like if you've played Clank, you'll understand the deck building. If you've played, any worker placement, Viticulture, Loads of Waterdeep, you'll understand the worker placement, etc. So a good next step game for you if you're interested. The price point is actually pretty hard to beat too. The retail version is $60. From what I understand, at my local store, the Portal here in Manchester, Connecticut. So go ahead and check this out if you want to pick it up. I definitely recommend. Know what you're getting into, as always. But if you like that, next step Euro game, I think that Endless Winter has a lot for you. This is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop, reminding you that we will see you at the next stop.